The day my daughter-in-law told me to leave her house, I thought my family had finally decided they didn't need me anymore. I stood in the hallway with one suitcase in my hand while she watched me from the living room. "Please leave today, Mr. Keller," she said quietly. "I don't want you living here anymore." I looked at my son. He was sitting on the sofa. He didn't say a word. That silence hurt more than her words. "My name is Friedrich Keller. I was 69 years old, and for the last 4 years, I had been living with my son Lucas, his wife, Miriam, and their 12-year-old daughter, Emma. My wife, Helga, had passed away 7 years earlier. After that, I had lived alone in my small apartment in Munich. At first, I managed well. I had my garden, my books, my morning walks. But then Lucas called me one evening. "Dad, you shouldn't be living alone anymore." "I'm fine," I told him. "I know you are. But Emma misses you. And we have a spare room." I didn't want to become a burden. But Lucas insisted. So I moved in. Those 4 years were some of the happiest years of my life. Every morning, I made breakfast for Emma before school. On weekends, I helped Lucas with small repairs around the house. Miriam and I weren't always close, but we respected each other. At least, that's what I believed. Then, slowly, things started changing. It began with small things. Miriam started locking the study door. She never used to do that. When I asked why, she smiled. "Just keeping some private documents inside." I didn't think much of it. Then she started receiving phone calls late at night. Whenever I entered the room, she would stop talking. One evening, I heard her say, "No, he cannot know yet." I stopped in the hallway. My heart began beating faster. I thought she was talking about me. But when she saw me, she quickly ended the call. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yes." "Who was that?" She looked at me strangely. "Nobody. Nobody." That word stayed in my mind. A few weeks later, for the next few days, I tried to pretend that everything was normal. It wasn't. Stefan was gone from our lives, at least for the moment. The police had started looking into the forged documents. The lawyer was handling the legal side of things. And I was back in the house. But something had changed. The house no longer felt completely safe. Not because I was afraid of Stefan. I was afraid of something else. The possibility that I didn't really know the people closest to me. Every morning, I would walk downstairs and see Miriam preparing breakfast. She was polite, kind, even. But there was always a strange silence between us. One morning, she finally spoke. "Friedrich." "Yes." "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." She put down her coffee. "Do you hate me?" I looked at her. The question surprised me. "No." Even after what I did. I thought for a moment. I was hurt. I know. Very hurt. Her eyes filled with tears. "But I don't hate you." "Why not?" I gave her a small smile. "Because hatred takes too much energy." She looked down. "I'm sorry. I know. I should have trusted you." "Yes." She nodded. "I should have asked you before believing Stefan." "Yes." There was a long silence. Then I said, "But you also need to understand something." She looked at me. "You didn't just ask me to leave a house." "I know. You asked me to leave my family." Her eyes filled with tears again. "I know. And that is something I won't forget." She nodded. "I don't expect you to." For the first time, I respected her honesty. We didn't hug. We didn't suddenly become best friends. But something changed. We had finally spoken the truth. And sometimes, that's where healing begins. A week later, the lawyer called. His voice sounded serious. "Mr. Keller, we found something." I was sitting in my room. "What?" "The forged document wasn't created by Stefan alone." My heart sank. "What do you mean?" "There was someone else." I stood up. "Who?" "I can't tell you over the phone." "Why?" "Vika." I stared at my son. "Your mother was afraid of me?" Lucas nodded. I couldn't understand. "Why?" He looked down at the floor. "Because she thought you would do something stupid." "What does that mean?" "She knew you would confront Stefan." I felt my anger disappear. For a moment, I could only think about Helga. My wife had always known me better than anyone. She knew that if I believed someone was hurting our family, I wouldn't stay silent. But that still didn't explain the letter. Then why did she write it? Lucas took a deep breath. "Because she wanted me to protect you." "From Stefan?" "Yes." I sat down. Lucas continued. "Mom discovered what Stefan was doing years ago. She knew he had been manipulating people. She knew about the money. Then why didn't she tell me?" "Because she was afraid." "Of Stefan?" "Yes." "Why?" Lucas looked at me. "Because Stefan had something against our family." "What?" "Me." I stared at him. "What did he have against you?" Lucas closed his eyes. Then he finally told me the truth. 6 years earlier, before my wife died, Lucas had made a terrible mistake. He had borrowed money from Stefan, not for the company, for himself. He had been struggling with gambling. I felt like I had been punched. My son had a gambling problem, and I had never known. Lucas looked ashamed. I thought I could control it. How much money? He told me. It was a huge amount. I stood up. How could you hide this from me? I was ashamed. You let your mother carry this alone? I didn't know she knew. She knew. I know. I walked to the window. Suddenly, everything made sense. My wife's fear. The missing letter. Stefan's control over Lucas. The forged documents. My daughter-in-law asking me to leave. The entire family had been living inside a web of secrets. And I had been the only person who didn't know. Then Lucas said something that changed everything again. There's one thing I haven't told you. I turned around. What? Mom didn't die knowing about my gam.